Yo, welcome back to the Gym Podcast. I'm Miller.
I'm Gaff.
And today, it's a very somber mood.
Yeah.
Because Gavin's Celtics just lost and
Probably
best player on the floor.
Most likely tore his Achilles.
Yes. So,
not a very happy moment for me, but dang. I'm just looking back at it. We had a great run, Celtics. We had an elite run.
Oh, my goodness.
We dominated the conference. You and Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, elite duo. Elite role players along the way that you would love. No dirty players. Other than Daniel Tice, bro, every player has just been a player that I could cheer for. Marcus Smart. Celtics, we had a great run.
Bro,
an elite all-time run. I mean, we're talking about the last decade almost. We've ran the East. Like, we've dominated the conference. But went to 2 finals. Yeah, it's over.
It's not over, bro.
It's over,
not
bro.
over.
We're gonna rejuvenate. Maybe this is like when the Warriors were terrible. They got Kuminga.
That's
they
what
got Kuminga
like.
and Moody.
Yeah.
They came back, won one more. You know, hopefully we do something like that. But for the rest of this run and next year, it's grits. It's cooked. We are done. Y'all who really, no offense, bro, but y'all who think like Jaylen Brown's like a best player, like y'all about to see like he's good, but
it's not that. It's not that.
It was a great run, and yeah, I ain't gonna lie, it's over. But like New York outplayed us. Like Jayson Tatum is not why we lost.
Yeah.
Even though he went out with a bang. Like he did. If you a Jayson Tatum hater, like just shut up now. I ain't gonna lie. Just shut up.
That was the best way to go.
Yes.
That was the best way.
New York outplayed us. Elite. I mean, just look at their starting 5. Like if you really think like when they do put it together, like no one can mess with this Knicks squad 1 through 5.
Yeah.
Now they don't always put it together every game, but they're elite. So.
In this case, Drew Holiday. I was saying this during the game. Drew Holiday, Al Horford, and Kristaps Porzingis just weren't the same level of role player that they were last year. And that's what it came down to. You expected that to be the case, that they would be the same. But I think they all just got old at the same time, and it came crumbling down because when Tatum has a 42-point game, you expect other guys to step up, especially with the tough shots he was making.
And the New York role players did.
Yeah, so let me ask you, do you think Jayson Tatum will come back the same?
I don't know. It's something I'm worried about. Like, I thought about it instantly. You know, I asked him, like, bro, will he be the same? And I think he'll probably set it. He won't be as downhill of a threat as he once was. He is 29. I mean, he's 27. So he'll probably play again when he's 29. It's
not bad at all, though.
It's not bad at all. It's still, he'll come back younger than what Jokic is right now, if you think about it.
Yeah.
So he'll still probably have a good, I'd say, 3 to 5 years of, like, assuming he stays healthy after that.
7 level basketball,
yeah, top
at least.
7 to 10 level basketball. But yeah, I hope he just comes back strong, healthy, and at least somewhat of the same player.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was sad to see, especially like end of game, loose ball. It was just sad to see that happen.
It was a rough way to go out, and especially for this to be the year. And I've said this once again, to where they were supposed to prove everybody wrong with being disrespected by Team USA and things of that nature. So I was looking forward to being after the game. I was looking forward to saying, "Hey, Tatum just dropped 42."
Yeah, I was telling you, it was like 10 minutes to go. I thought we were going to somehow find a way to win just because of the championship. I thought, and the opposite happened. Their role players who haven't done this in the playoffs showed up, and ours who have didn't.
Exactly.
But I was ready to pop it on here. I was ready to talk for Tatum. I was about it, and I still am.
And the thing about it is, if the Celtics win that game, you're probably thinking they're winning this series.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how that right there just flipped the entire thing. You also, there's some Celtics fans that might have thought, even if you went down 3-1, if you still walked out of the building with Tatum,
yes,
you have a chance.
I would say that we're gonna win Game 5 with Tatum. Yeah. Bounce back. We're gonna bounce back. Game 5. We're gonna win. Their role players aren't gonna shoot the same at our place.
Yeah.
And it comes down to who wins Game 6, because Game 7 we're winning in the Garden.
Yeah.
We're winning in the Garden.
Yeah.
But it comes down to that Game 6.
Absolutely.
So being down 3-1 in this scenario wasn't as bad as it may have seemed, but now it's over.
And it just shows you how hard it is to really win in this league nowadays. Yes. No repeat champions. It's hard to keep. It's hard to go back to back. Yeah. Some of these role players that you depend on,
it's gonna be worse with the new CBA.
Absolutely. And you always think these teams are building dynasties because of how core guys played in a particular postseason. When in reality, a lot of these role guys are up and down. Like the next season, you could have games where you're talking about them just not being as great of players, and that's what's happening.
And you're gonna start, and I'm looking forward to this new CBA. Not as a Celtics fan, it's hurting us for right now, but for a longevity standpoint, you're gonna see more well together put teams, rather than, and you're gonna see teams not with the exact players, but the type of structure that the Cavs have, the type of structure that the Pacers have, the type of structure that OKC has right now. Full teams with depth, those are the teams that are going to be good for longer.
Absolutely.
Because when you just have, it's not going to work for Denver forever.
No.
It's not going to, because you're going to have to pay certain guys more than, especially when you're winning.
Absolutely.
So, I would just say it's going to be hard to win back-to-back. Even the Thunder, as young and good as they are, I don't know if they're dominant enough yet. That's the problem. Unless they were to go get a Giannis or
I think this team, I think the Thunder are capable of winning multiple championships, but I don't think they have let's look at the San Antonio Spurs and their dynasty. Tim Duncan, all-time great, and Shea will end up, in my opinion, being an all-time great. But those secondary guys aren't the number twos that Kevin Durant was, that Shaquille O'Neal was, that or that Kobe was, that Kareem was, and those are where we talk about dynasties.
Yes,
like back to back to back dynasties. You have to have two all-time players, and as great as Tony Parker was, he was a great point guard and all-star. Even he was low-key Jamal Murray level, I would say, maybe better than Jamal Murray.
Yeah,
but
a little better.
I just think it'll be hard to really build dynasties where it's back to back if you don't have two elite superstars in this league. So we're gonna have to see where that comes in. The next best thing that I would think of is what we're about to get into right now, the draft lottery, because I do think Giannis to the Spurs is a very likely possibility. But let's talk about it. Let's go from the beginning. Yeah, let's go from the beginning. Dallas wins the lottery.
Before we talk about what they should do, what's your reaction to them getting the number one pick in the same year that they trade Luka Doncic? Like, I'm sorry, if you have a conspiracy theory, you might be right. Like, at first I was like, nah, bro, like, people are just dumb sometimes. Not everything goes how we think it's supposed to go.
Exactly.
But now, and I still think that, but I'm not going to say you're completely wrong if you believe, or I'm not going to knock you if you truly believe that Adam Silver or someone behind closed doors is like, hey, you trade Luka to the Lakers, we'll give you.
It's not like they're plucking the ping pong balls anymore.
And they're not, and that's my thing. Why? I think we just, I don't know, this is just me being a fan, like, put the ping pong balls out there. So exactly. I know that this is actually, dang, they got lucky.
Exactly.
Because what it looks like is, in the back room, they're like, all right, listen, Cooper flagged to the Mavericks. Dallas. We got to repay them because we did tell them. Like, that's what it looks like.
That's exactly what it looks like.
Because not even just Cooper flag. You have contenders. You have the Spurs.
The Sixers.
You have the Spurs, Sixers, and the Mavericks in the top three, which are three teams that are ready to win now. Yes, two of those, or all three of the teams didn't make the playoffs, but it's either due to injuries or, once again, the Spurs are just right there on the cusp of making the playoffs, and you have a 25-year-old. You have a 25-year-old player, and not 25-year-old player. You have Victor Wembanyama, who, like, he's ready to win now.
Yeah.
So,
man, we said this when the Luka trade happened. I told you there was something fishy about this. And if this was the benefit, it would make perfect sense.
Yeah.
I don't want to throw this out there again. We had this discussion privately earlier, but the fact that the Dallas Mavericks probably now have the three of the 5 best Caucasian players of all time. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. Bird and Jokic are only two.
Yeah, Bird and Jokic maybe on that outside. You're talking about Stockton and Kidd, people like that. But I think Kidd is mixed. But that doesn't matter.
Yeah,
anyways,
regardless, though.
There is something fishy with 3 contenders getting the first 3 picks. But, we are into talking ball. So we're not going to speculate and things of that nature, 100%. Even though it is a fun thing to do. But what do you think they should do with the number 1 pick?
Draft Cooper Flag.
Ooh, that was a hard one.
Don't trade for Giannis on the simple fact that with Giannis's injury history.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis's injury history, Kyrie Irving's injury history, Klay Thompson's injury history. Yes, it might look great on paper, but when you trade for these guys, you have you're back on that 1 to 2 year time window, Nico.
Yeah.
But you might just have a bunch of guys that look good on paper that like once
aren't that?
we're just they just
running
can't
back,
stay healthy
and they can't even play.
Then you're in a Philadelphia Sixers situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it looked great on paper, but Paul George and Joel Embiid, can we really expect them to be consistent?
No.
In the playoffs and stay healthy, both of those?
Yeah.
No. So I would say draft Cooper Flag. He's your future. I don't think he's the best prospect we've ever seen, but you could argue that he's the most complete.
Yeah, I mean, you know how I feel about him.
Yeah. I felt a little way about him, and I still question his 3-point shot.
Yeah.
But he's an automatic good player in the NBA. He's an automatic all-star.
Yeah, so
let me put that.
I think,
especially now,
I think Cooper Flag is going to be an automatic top 10 player at least. And I know you may not
in the NBA.
Yeah, in the NBA, he's going to be a top 10 player at some point in his career. Absolutely lock stamped in my opinion. And the fact that they ended up once again with the number 1 pick able to get a franchise cornerstone in my opinion is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
But yes, obviously Cooper Flag should be the number 1 pick here. There's not much to discuss. And I think, and we do have to speak about what that means for Dallas next year. Okay, now we discussed this earlier. You're talking about Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, Cooper Flag, Anthony Davis, Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, Najee Marshall,
Spencer Dinwiddie,
PJ Washington.
That is a stacked roster that can guard. I'm telling you, if this team is completely fully healthy and Kyrie gets back right to where he doesn't even have to go 30 balls.
He don't even got to play the beginning of the season either.
If he can just give you 22,
yes.
If he can give you these good nights, you talk about y'all's defense on the perimeter. Mm-hmm. Can you, bro?
They're a little bit older, so it's going to be hard for them to keep up that defensive intensity.
I'm talking about in a playoff game.
Yeah, exactly. Their ceiling.
Cooper Flag at the 3, Anthony Davis at the 4, and then you have whoever Lively or Gafford at the 5. That is the best front court of defense in the entire NBA.
Let me just say that is a team based off next year. That is the only team of all time that I think does not have a 1A and can still win the championship.
Yes.
Like those are too many.
And I'm not saying they will, and I don't think they will. But I have to say, with what I'm seeing on paper, I have to give them a shot if they have Cooper Flag.
Oh my gosh! Like there's no way you cannot give them a chance.
No, because that's a team that can guard Jokic.
Yes, I mean you have 3 bigs to throw at them. It's you do have to think about some of these things. Like that's just if Cooper Flag reaches a point in his rookie year even to where he could be a 3rd option,
where he's dropping 18,
like that. Come on. Like that's scary, and maybe his development gets slowed down at a certain point.
I hope not. But I weirdly went from not liking him as a UNC fan to like.
Yeah, I root for him.
I'm not gonna lie. This is the one Duke team that I didn't have guys that I didn't. No. I mean, Kneppel had some stuff about him, but like that, just the white boy, like little like
JJ
whatever.
Redick, Duke player. Yeah,
this is he's a likable player in my personal opinion, at least for me. We can move on though to number 2 with the San Antonio Spurs. Thought they were going to get 1. I thought that's the way they were going to rig it, but no.
Me too.
I think there's a gap between Cooper Flag and Dylan Harper, who's the 2nd best player in this draft. Who
I think as far as their top end, I would agree with that statement. But I think as far as hit or miss, I think Dylan Harper is a hit. Like I think he's going to hit for any organization that he goes to.
You think?
I do. The big guard, the pace. I think he's a winning basketball player. I think he'll be able to defend big guard.
The only thing I question is a shooter.
Yeah.
The only thing I question, if he can be a capable shooter and score, he got to be a capable scorer.
Yeah.
Then I think it'd be great. But I think when you have Stephon Castle and you still have Chris Paul there and you have De'Aaron Fox, how good would he really be if you draft him there?
I agree. Yes.
Because you're not going to start.
Yeah.
You have the Rookie of the Year in De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, he might not be better than either of them in his career.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad. I mean, Stephon Castle's going to be a freaking... I didn't know he was going to be this good offensively.
Yeah.
I knew he was going to be an elite 6'5" defender.
I mean, he plays with great pace.
Yes.
Same thing. So.
And you see Chris Paul taking him under his wing just like how Chris Paul did Shea, which is scary.
It was scary.
And then you got De'Aaron Fox, who people don't talk about it, but because he hasn't been on great teams, but he has the clutchness of just as much of Jamal Murray or Jalen Brunson right now. He is just as clutch as those guys.
Yeah.
Clutch player of the year a couple years ago. So, I would say they have what it takes, and that's why I would trade for Giannis. Because Dylan Harper, once again,
Doesn't help you as much right now.
And none of these other guys even fit, I don't think, other than Derek Queen. But you might be able to get him with your other pick.
Yeah.
Probably won't, but you might.
Yeah, you would probably have to trade up a little bit. Definitely not.
But yeah, I would say you got to trade both these picks for Giannis.
Yeah, so I think this pick needs to be used to acquire Giannis. I agree, and I also think it increases the skepticality of what just happened in this lottery because, in my opinion, as a basketball fan, there is no other place I would want to see Giannis traded to than the San Antonio Spurs. I'm going to be completely honest.
Yes.
The fact that you can pair him up with Wemby, you kind of got a Twin Towers action that you had back in the 90s with David Robinson, Tim Duncan.
And you're talking about literally, we're talking about this. He could end up being the second best power forward ever.
Yes.
So the two best power forwards ever would be from San Antonio.
Exactly.
Which is just crazy to think about. And it helps Wemby a lot if Wemby were to be able to guard on the perimeter,
and he's going to be able to just shoot threes like he wants to do anyway. And it's not like he's a bad shooter. I mean, this dude was shooting a great clips.
Imagine like a spiked completely. Like he could do what Brook Lopez was doing in his prime, but much better.
And all those role guys that they have are elevated. They might have to give players up to obviously get him, but I mean,
not too much with the 2 picks.
With the 2 picks though, like. I mean, you're talking about either one of Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, Sohan. One of those guys are going to get elevated by him even being there. Now, I would recommend they trade Sohan out of all those guys.
100%.
But
I mean, we just talked about the Mavericks. Imagine the defense. We were talking about when they get Cooper Flag. Imagine the defense. You're talking about Wemby, who I think, if you just go eye test, you could say he's one of the best defenders ever.
Yes.
And he averaged 4 blocks. Like, we're not seeing this of a rookie.
Yeah.
If he could put together a season and complete a season, and I don't know how severe his blood clot was, but I do think Wemby, like if they made a playoff run, he could have came back, or like if he was in a Dame situation.
But it was smart to sit him down.
Yeah, it was just no point in bringing him back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say, that defense with Giannis and Wemby, and then you got Castle who guards, and then De'Aaron Fox is a capable defender.
Which means the Bucks would obviously be getting. We had to talk about it on the Bucks side as well. The Bucks would probably be picking up Dylan Harper, which would be a great fit, by the way.
Yes.
He's going to be able to rock out early, and then you're going to have to surround him. Yeah, exactly. So,
and then you get in a situation where if Dame's still capable, you could trade him as well.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think that's going to be the trade that happens. It feels the most likely.
Yeah.
I will be shocked to see him go anywhere else.
But this is also not San Antonio like to give up the farm for.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. And there's a lot of other teams that, I mean, even y'all can compete with that package.
Celtics
and honestly
could
put a better package.
Boston,
the Celtics could
Houston.
Celtics could put together a package that, not for long, but for at least a 2-year stint, that Milwaukee could still win right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it'll be interesting.
We talk about the third pick, the Sixers. Once again, another contender getting a top 3 pick. What do you have them doing right here?
Yeah, I think honestly, you go rebuild. I think even trade Embiid.
Okay.
But so you can develop Ace Bailey. I think you go Ace Bailey here. For sure. You have your guard in Maxey. You have Jared McCain, who I feel like proved himself as a shooting guard, and he can really score the ball. He's going to be good, hard. Like, just from what we know from his social media, he's a really hard worker. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be a good shooting guard in this league. I don't know how I feel about the 2 small guard backcourt because it didn't go well for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But I will say, scoring-wise, that's going to be tough to deal with.
That's going to be great, yeah.
And like I said, I think, you gave up. It doesn't mix well. You're trying to go old at one point, and you're young, but you're not ready to win. Yeah. So I think you just go young. You let Maxey hoop. You let Ace Bailey run the wing because Paul George, he's not that good anymore. I'm gonna keep it above. I mean, he's just declining.
My thing is, you made that decision though to sign him. Yes. And he is under like you are gonna have to lay in that bed you made, in my opinion. Yeah,
but you might. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it might be a situation where, and I don't even know if Paul George would like this, but in a sense, make him a role player. Yeah, like he can't even be a third guy.
And my thing is, I think what you're saying right now, I completely don't disagree with it. And trying to rebuild with Ace Bailey, I think that might be a more viable option. But in my opinion, if you are already telling your fans, man, we got Embiid, we got Maxey, we got Paul George, we did this for a reason. Jared McCain just popped off in his rookie season. I think you go with
one more year.
Like you said, no, I don't think you go one more. I think you're going with a more hit prospect. And this is crazy that we're saying this because the most heated debate we've ever had on this podcast was about Ace Bailey. Yeah. And I was on Ace Bailey's side. Yeah. And now you're arguing he should be picked this early, and I'm saying he shouldn't.
Not and I'm
saying VJ Edgecombe would be the best fit here. And I'm not that high as on VJ Edgecombe as a prospect, but like you said, 2 small guards in that backcourt. They need some athleticism to guard some of these great guards, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, in the backcourt of these other great Eastern Conference teams. Yeah. And I think VJ Edgecombe is an extremely athletic guard that can do that for you. And you have to bet on that upside defensively and as a shot maker because, once again, you already have shot making in that backcourt. Ace Bailey is just going to be adding to that. You don't know what he's going to be giving you defensively. So I don't know. I'm thinking VJ Edgecombe to the Sixers might be the move here. And I know that's very much let's just say he's not the third best prospect in the draft for me, but I just think that's the only fit that really works in this spot. Then
you would trade back.
I wouldn't trade back.
You wouldn't?
No. Because I mean how far are you going to trade back to where these teams really want, other guys other than Cooper and Dylan Harper, yeah.
Okay, so we'll go to 4 now.
Yeah. Who do you have Charlotte Hornets taking?
If they take your logic, I would take Ace Bailey here. Yes. You get Ace Bailey at the 3, Brandon Miller at the 2, LaMelo at the 1. Yeah. That's not bad. Bridges at the 4, and until he's maybe traded probably eventually.
Well, but you just took Ace Bailey 3 though. So who do you have them taking?
Nah, I'm saying I'm about to get to that.
Okay, okay.
I would take Ace Bailey if he's there, but if he's not, I would go someone who is supposed to be farther back, but when we go fit, I would get Derek Queen.
Okay, that's where I was.
Yes, and I would say Derek Queen on the simple fact that when you have Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball, why would you want another guard? They're not going to develop. Yeah. Like, why would you? Not even Ace Bailey, because you could throw him at the 3.
I do
but
agree.
When you talk about other guys in this draft, like, I'm not even going to say all of them, but like, let's just say Trey Johnson. Like, does Trey Johnson develop well?
No, that's
you
a
know
great
what I'm
question.
saying? In that, I think Trey Johnson need to be somewhere he could just hoop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Almost like Cam Thomas is right now, but he'll get to it at a younger age. So yeah, I would definitely go Derek Queen.
I'm thinking Derek Queen as well. I think you got to go high, the highest ceiling you can at this spot if you're the Charlotte Hornets. You've been trashed for so long.
Yes.
This is the pick you got to go with. And Ace Bailey, once again, keeps falling in my draft. And it's not because of his talent, once again, but it's because of the fact that these teams are just horrible fits for him. The fact that Brandon Miller is already there, I don't want to see Ace Bailey alongside Brandon Miller when Brandon Miller is not done progressing yet. So, in my opinion, Derek Queen would be the best fit here. And you never know. This could be a great spot for Derek Queen to land. I mean, if I'm looking at it from Derek Queen's field, like, he's going to be able to rock out. Yeah. And it might be a great version of basketball that he's bringing to Charlotte. So I would be still excited if I was a Hornets fan, because you never know. You could have been trapped with the 2nd or 3rd pick and had to get Ace Bailey, had to get a guy that doesn't Dylan Harper. Yeah. And you already have LaMelo Ball.
Hornets, don't go VJ Edgecombe, please.
And please don't go any player from overseas once again. Don't go with a guy from France that you just learned about last week. Go with Derek Queen. He is the highest ceiling prospect.
If you miss on Derek Queen, no one's mad at you.
No one will be mad. No one will be mad. That is the player that Charlotte wants you to take, so don't complicate this. Take Derek Queen. All right.
Yeah.
5. Utah Jazz.
Yeah, this is easy. Jeremy Fears for me. Jeremiah Fears.
Okay, yeah. All right.
It's easy.
I have the same thing.
This is my favorite player in the draft. I think he is not as safe, but if we're talking ceiling, he has a higher ceiling than Dylan Harper.
As a guard.
Especially offensively. This is a guy who's supposed to be going to college right now.
Yeah.
He can put the ball in the basket at an elite level. His bag is different. In Utah, he's going to be able to rock out.
Yes,
he's going to be over Isaiah Collier, I think.
They don't have guards that can offensively produce like
you're going to throw Sexton at the 2.
Yes,
you're going to put him at the 1, and he's going to be able to rock out and play and get good screens from Kessler, and he's going to be able to hoop off of that.
What is he? He's taller than most guards, right? 6'4", 6'5". Or is that just me watching games wrong?
I don't know. I think he's 6'3".
Okay, well, whatever he is, I do agree with you.
Yeah,
I do completely agree with you with that spot.
Even what I saw from him in that late clutch shots from him playing Kentucky, he's 6'4". Okay, but that's also 6'4". ESPN. He's probably 6'3".
Okay,
you know how that goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Jeremiah Fears. I love his game. I know he isn't the most efficient. I know he isn't this, but just the ceiling that I see and the ability at the point guard position in some of these teams that I'm seeing, not just the Jazz, but there's multiple teams I could see him going to and being able to rock out and hoop and be an elite player. I think that's the perfect fit for Jeremiah Fears.
All right, so let's move on to pick 6. This is the last one we're going to do because, 7th pick Pelicans, 8th pick Nets, 9th pick Raptors. Those are teams
throw you off with this one
that we don't want to talk about. All right, so let me start then because I'm just going to say that this is where I had Ace Bailey falling.
Okay.
And I think this would be a great spot for Ace Bailey.
Yeah.
Well, you have Bub Carrington, great guard that was putting the ball in the basket last year. You drafted Alex Sarr. You got guys that you could build around in Washington. You got A.J. Johnson from Milwaukee last year. I just think right here he could just fit in and shoot the ball. He can work on his bag in Washington, and I hope that he falls here. I just think it would be the perfect spot. Once again,
I disagree, but I see what you're saying.
Why do you disagree?
I just think, yes, he'll be able to rock out, but there's also guys that I feel like you would have to get rid of or change their...
Who would that be?
And that's because I think A.J. Johnson is an elite player that is developing that needs shots. I think that you have Jordan Poole, who needs a lot of shots, but I think he's proven that he's a sixth man in this league. And that's fine. And he's not a starter. But just with that, I think Ace Bailey would be better to go, honestly, even a little earlier than some of the teams.
I would just like Ace Bailey to be with Chris Middleton and learn from Chris Middleton. I would love.
I don't hate that either. I think he would be better with the Pelicans. I know we're going to 6. But yeah.
I mean, he probably would be. I mean, he would, but I don't think Ace Bailey has fallen any farther than 6 in my opinion. No. So who do you have with the 6th pick?
So I'm gonna throw you off here, and once again, just like you said with Edgecombe, I don't even have him this high as a prospect. Yeah. But I think sometimes in drafts you got to go, okay, we're not the top pick. Let's go with the safe one here. We'll get our star in the next draft. Yeah. Because I don't think the Wizards are winning this next upcoming year. I think they're going to be in the same position at a top pick. Yeah. And you're going to, roll the dice, see what you get in the lottery. And you hopefully get your star there. I like what I saw from...
I disagree with that, though. I think the Wizards could be playoff contenders next year.
Continue to make the playoffs. Yeah. That's fair. And that's a good still step. It's a step, but it's not... I'm saying you don't get a home game from it. Yeah. And you're not the 6th seed. No, it would be 7A. It would be playing. Yeah. Stuff like that. So, yeah, I think right here I go Malowatch. And I'm saying this because he's the best defensive prospect in my personal opinion, defensively. I don't think there's a better defensive prospect at the big position. Obviously Cooper Flagg, but he's 3-4 more than 4-5. Yeah. So, yeah, I will go him here because I like how... Just how I said even though people don't, they look at the height and they just want to throw him in the center conversations. But I like what I saw from Alex Sarr at the end of the year. But Alex Sarr, Chet Holmgren, and Victor Wembanyama, I'm convinced all three, especially Chet and Alex Sarr, but even Wemby, I'm convinced they're power forwards. Yeah. And we just look at their height, but we have to look at the way they play and they want to face up and they want to shoot.
That makes sense.
It's the same reason why Julius Randle isn't a 5. Yeah. Even though he's a little shorter, obviously, but you have to look at styles and how people play. And it's not a center. Yeah. And that's fine. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. He's still an elite defender, still can protect the paint, but if that's your center and then you have a bunch of threes, two small forwards, and I don't like the build of that roster.
I do see what you're saying.
So I would say, you maybe get a star later, or not even get a star later. You don't draft a player here that needs a lot of touches.
So if Ace Bailey is on the board, are you taking Malowatch over Ace Bailey? Okay.
And here's what I'm saying. I think you have a better chance, instead of Ace Bailey developing into a star, you have a better chance of not taking him. Don't draft a guy that needs touches. Yeah. Draft Malowatch. You have him and Alex Sarr. That's an elite defensive front court. Two 7'2" players.
I just wonder.
And A.J. Johnson is who you develop to end up being your guy.
That's my thing, though. I don't see the development in A.J. Johnson.
You don't?
I see him being a great player, but I mean, he might have been a first-round pick. Yeah, I think he was a first-round pick. But I don't see the ceiling that you do. And once we were talking about his rookie year film. Yeah. He's dirty.
Nah, he's nice.
He's dirty. But we're talking about I think Ace Bailey could just be at his top end. Yeah. He offers more of a ceiling than A.J. Johnson. And that's not nothing on A.J. Johnson. No. I agree with you.
Because A.J. Johnson still has only averaged 10 points on the Wizards. It's not like he was just absolutely killing. But I like what I'm seeing from him. And it kind of is the same trajectory. Got traded from a winning team to a losing team. Honestly, the same trajectory of Shea. And I'm not saying A.J. Johnson's going to be Shea. But I'm saying he's an elite, extremely talented player that has elite upside and could be a very talented player. I don't even think he'd be the best player on the championship team. I'm not saying all that. But I think that you might be able to get a better guy or just someone else. Maybe in a trade. Yeah. Even if a Giannis-like player, someone like that comes available in a trade 3 to 5 years down the line, you can get that player as your guy rather than whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I would go I will go Malawach here, and then you're set with defense for the next 10 years.
Absolutely.
At the big position. So
yeah. We will give y'all a more in-depth mock draft when that time comes around.
Yes.
But we just wanted to give y'all those top 6 picks since the lottery just happened. But we will talk about the other series, but we don't really feel like it right now.
Yeah.
We're getting tired. Obviously, Thunder Nuggets are playing Game 5 tomorrow. Let's just give them a quick preview. Who do you have in that game?
Yeah. Give me the Nuggets to bounce back.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I just think, and I still think OKC is going to win the series.
So you think the OKC is winning the last 2 games?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know why, really, exactly. I just think the Nuggets will bounce back. I think they'll play better. I think they shot terribly in the fourth quarter, very uncharacteristic.
Yeah.
But once again, like I said, and I was correct, I said this before the series even started, other than last game, if it's close game down to the wire, I like the Nuggets.
Yeah.
But OKC is a much better team, but once again, with them being young, are they really going to blow them out by 40 every single time?
No, I agree.
Are they going to play with their food? Because if you play with your food, Jokic and Murray, the 2-man game with 4 minutes to go, you saw they let it get to overtime, you're going to lose that battle.
Yeah.
If it goes to overtime or something like that, 9 times out of 10, give me the Nuggets. But yes, I do think OKC is a better team. I think they're guarding Jokic better than anyone in NBA history has since Jokic has been an NBA basketball player.
Yeah.
And I'm very high on the Thunder. I'm very high on the Thunder's ceiling. But, yeah.
So I have the Thunder winning, and it's for similar reason that you just stated. But I think the Thunder are figuring more things out and progressing as a basketball team more throughout this series than the Denver Nuggets are right now. Jokic looks shook. I mean, these past 2 games, I feel like we have taken him away, and he hasn't found a way to be effective because we've kind of made him into a passer. And let's be honest, Christian Brown, Russell Westbrook shooting threes, that is kind of what the Thunder want.
It is.
And the Thunder have figured out that the Nuggets on the defensive end are trying to make Shea a playmaker once again. And Shea was much better as a playmaker. I feel like if Jalen Williams came to play and didn't go 2 for 13, he could have ended up with about, I don't know, he had 6 assists. He might have had about 10 assists yesterday. So that's the type of stuff we're talking about. If Jalen Williams brings it, which I think he will, more than 2 for 13, I think we can definitely keep progressing through this series and winning games. I have OKC in 6. I think we will win these next 2 games.
I can still win 6.
I absolutely do believe that.
I said that at the we both said that at the beginning.
Yeah, we said that. And after the first game, I was thinking OKC in 7.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, I just think we are progressing very well through this series and learning as it goes, and that's what you want from a young team. And if we win this game, if we win one more game, honestly, it's the farthest we've ever went because we went out in 6 to the Mavericks last year. So that would be a good step in our progression. But not going to talk about Golden State, Minnesota.
No, that series ended when Curry pulled his hamstring, and I think the Warriors, if healthy, would have won that series. I truly do believe that, especially come down to the late games. But it hasn't even got to come down to late games with Curry, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Simply just because the Warriors are built to, kind of like the Nuggets. Like, not a lot of players that you're going to play, but those players that are going to play are going to show up. While, I mean, the Minnesota Timberwolves have a bunch of guys they can throw at you. So the Warriors getting hurt, it would be like,
it's a talent.
Imagine if Jamal Murray got hurt right now.
Yeah, it would be no chance. Yeah, no chance. So that's where we're at with that one. And then Cleveland, Indiana. Guys, I just don't see how we could be so shocked with the outcome of how this series is going right now. Indiana, I told Gavin this today. Indiana's second best player would be the second best player on Cleveland, in my opinion. Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton is the best player on this team. I think the Pacers have a better backcourt than the Cleveland Cavaliers do, or at least a more winning. Well, yeah, exactly, a more winning backcourt. And I think more well coached. There's an offensive engine. They're picking you up 94 feet, not letting you get into action. This Pacers team is so disrespected, and it's because of the fact that they don't have a supreme
names.
1A.
And they don't have household names.
Absolutely. But the way they play is just so... They're up in your face, and they're playing basketball, it seems like, at a different pace than everyone else. They play very similar to the Thunder, in my opinion. They just don't have a Shea.
Yeah.
So that's why
I think they play even faster pace because offensively, because their point guard is a much better playmaker than Shea because, he's just pushing the pace.
He's more of a point guard, period, yeah. So, and then you got Nesmith picking up. You have 3. They go out there and play 3 guards. And it works because, I mean, you're never looking at the mismatch in size with the 3 position. You're really looking at your 4 and 5 if there's any weaknesses in there. And you still have Pascal Siakam and Miles Turner, who's not a great defender, but he's a body to throw at you.
Yes.
So this team is good, man. And it's looking like they'll play the Knicks, and we're talking about, I think, a 7-game series. Like, that's going to go down to the wire.
I'm not going to lie. A lot of people are going to take the Knicks, and it's going to be a good series.
Yes,
like, people are going to disrespect the Pacers.
Yes.
Once again.
Yes.
And I hate to say it, the Pacers, I mean,
I'm not going to lock into a pick this early because I'm that 50-50.
Yeah, I'm not going to lock into a pick this early, and I got to look at the matchups. I got to go back and look, but like and really dissect what I think, especially looking at bench. I know the Pacers will have the advantage on the bench.
Absolutely.
But they have a better coach.
Yeah.
I'll say that. And coaching matters a lot.
And the only thing that, in the Knicks' favor for me, obviously they did get better this offseason, but they took the Pacers to 7 last year with a very injured roster. So that's where I kind of look at it as like maybe there is a mismatch for the Knicks, but this is going to be an all-time series. Knicks Pacers, 90s basketball. Those were great match. Man, I'm excited for it. But that's all we got for today. Nice little episode. We'll have this out to y'all very soon. Thank you for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace out.